Oh, hey gang, how are you doing? Jonathan here for Tailhunter Sportfishing, and it's time once again for the Mexican Minute La Paz video fishing report. And this is going to cover all of the fishing action for our Tailhunter Sportfishing fleet in La Paz, Baja, Mexico for the dates of the 25th of March through the 2nd of April 2024. Wherever you are, hope you're doing well. Thank you for checking in. Thanks for spending time with us. Hope you had a great Easter and Easter week. And listen, if you like what we're doing, if you like my reports that you see every week, please do us a big favor, give us a thumbs up, a like, and don't forget to subscribe. Okay, now that I got through all of that, let's talk about what's going on in La Paz for fishing. Listen, we're not quite out of the woods yet. We're still getting some of those northern winds. But you know, for the last week and a half or so, and was perfect for the Easter vacationers, the spring breaks that filled up town. And let me tell you, the beaches were packed, the beaches were crowded. If you're at all aware of Mexico and Baja and La Paz in particular, you know that we've got a lot of empty beaches. Maybe you see one or two cars out there, a boat or two, maybe somebody spread out on a beach blanket. Well, this past week, you would not believe it. I mean, the beaches were shoulder to shoulder, cars packed everywhere, boom boxes going, carne asada being cooked and grilled, and all the barbecues. You know, on Sunday night, Easter night, it was a 5-hour traffic jam, a conga line of cars and headlights from Tecolote Beach, which is just 17 miles. It normally takes about 15 minutes to get from Tecolote back to town. It was 5 hours of traffic to get back to town. The beaches were packed, the beaches were crowded, folks were having a good time. The Malecon was shoulder to shoulder. That's the way it is during spring break and during Easter week. A lot of the locals do not work during these 2 weeks or so. A lot of folks travel. We've got spring break, we've got Easter break. Not only do we have Americans coming in, but it is also the busiest week for the Mexican nationals to travel as well. Into the country, out of the country. La Paz itself is a beach destination, and like anywhere else in the world, like anywhere in the United States, the beaches do draw folks. So yes, it was very, very crowded. Now, as you're watching this, things have tapered down a little bit, not quite so crowded, but still there's some traffic around. There's still some people on the beaches. It's still a little bit crowded, but it is diminishing little by little. As far as the fishing was concerned, like I said, the weather gave us a break. Those northern winds cut back a little bit, which is great because the water's little by little, maybe not quite week by week, but something like that as we get closer and closer to the end of April and May when things really start cooking. The waters are getting clearer, the waters are getting bluer, the waters are getting warmer as the winds diminish. So that means that the fishing, well, correspondingly, the fishing is really, really surprisingly good for this time of the year. You know, it's really, we still consider this sort of off season, and the folks we've got fishing, and we've got folks fishing almost every day now. Not a lot, it's not full season going, but you know, we've got one boat out, two boats out, then a day or two with no one, then we got one or two boats out. But a lot of these folks are not the hardcore fishermen. They're coming in, they've got a week or so or a few days in La Paz. They just want one day on the water, not necessarily hardcore folks. Maybe some of them don't have a lot of experience, or some of the folks we've had have not really even fished before or not fished on the ocean. So despite that, they're still doing really, really well. And if you check the fishing gallery at the end of this week's report, hang on, don't turn anything off, wait till the end. There's some great pictures this week, and the cool thing is the amount of variety we're catching. It's incredible. I've never seen this kind of variety. We're still getting some Dorado here and there, which means there's some patches of blue water. I hope it's not the end of last season and it's more like the beginning of this season, because there's some nice sized Dorado, some 10 to 15 pound schoolie fish. If you find that warm patch of water, and if you find those temperature breaks where there's cool water on one side, warmer water on the other side, there's still Dorado, or I should say there are Dorado holding there, and I hope they get better. But also, no tuna, but the yellowtail are still biting. The high spots around the islands, Cerralvo Island, as well as Espiritu Santo Island, if you can get across the channels and the wind's not blowing too strong, get out there. They're not in deep water, they're on those high spots, and there's some really nice toad-sized fish. 15 to 30 pound chunky yellowtail forktails are there. There's also, you know, look at those photos. Look at these photos once again. The pompano. Normally we don't get pompano, and they're a member of the jack family, just like roosterfish, just like jack crevalle, just like the yellowtail. They're members of the jack family, and they're big. Normally we don't see these kind of pompano until May or so, early June, but we're getting them right now. And not only are we getting them, but the size of these things, I mean, they are big, big pompano. I've never seen so many big pompano like we're seeing right now. But on top of that, you've also got jack crevalle. Some rooster fish are starting to show up. Haven't seen any of the big big boys, the big ones that were known for the 50, 100-pounders, but some 20 to 30-pounders are starting to move into the shallow areas. We're also getting Jack Crevalle, Bonita, several different kinds of Pargo liso. We're getting barred Pargo, we're getting dogtooth snapper, we're getting red snapper. There is a nice abundance of variety right now. Palometas as well. There's probably about a dozen species that you could hook right now, and that's kind of the fun thing, especially because we've got so many inexperienced or newcomers or first-timers fishing with us, families, kids. And, if you put a bait in the water, and everything is eating bait right now, if you put a bait in the water, you just really don't know what you're going to catch. We don't have to go out very far, and that's kind of the nice thing, because even if the winds are blowing and you can't get to some of the further areas, close to shore, close to the rocks, close to the beach, there's some nice fish to be caught. And that's what makes it really fun. There's a lot of variety. There's some good eating fish. There's bonita. There's all kinds of fish that will, pull a newcomer all over the place, and it's a lot of fun. So good signs for the last couple of weeks, week and a half or so during the spring break and Easter break. Now, like I said, we're not quite out of it yet. Looking at the extended forecast, the winds are going to start blowing again from the north, and there's some erratic weather coming down the pipe. So we're just going to have to hold on. As I mentioned before, look at the windows. If you're thinking about fishing in the next week or two, give us be flexible with your calendar. Check with us so I can look at the extended forecast. I can give you an idea of what the winds are going to look like, what the weather's going to look like, if the seas are going to be rough, and we can find a better day and better conditions for you to be out there. In the meantime, I'm Jonathan for the Mexican Minute. That's going to wrap things up. Stay tuned. Take a look at the fishing gallery. Season's heating up. We're looking forward to it. Looking forward to having a lot of you down. It's getting to be that time, so don't forget those passports. Don't forget to make sure your cell phones are working and all the other things. I'll be sending you more details as we get closer. But in the meantime, Jonathan here for the Mexican Minute. Thanks for checking in. Thanks for spending time with us. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up, a like, and subscribe, and we'll catch you next week. God bless.